Today we're going to talk about percent proportion. So a percent proportion is used when you are using percentages to compare numbers. So specifically, there needs to be a percent in it. So the basic setup for a percent proportion is you're comparing part of something to the whole value, and that part equals what percent out of 100. So no matter what, you always have the 100 here. You're plugging in three numbers or two numbers in a variable here. Keywords for part is clues you into the part, of clues you into the whole. So let's look at a problem. First problem, what is 60% of 130? Well, first off, no matter what, as I said, it's always going to be out of 100. Then let's look at the values that are given. The first thing I always look for is the percent. I either look to see, do I see a percentage sign or do I see the word percent? Here, I see the percent sign. So I know that 60% needs to go above the 100. The other number that's given to me is 130. And if I look at the key words here, it says of 130, which clues me into the whole. So this should go on the bottom, which means I'm solving for the part. And if you look, it says what number is. So we don't know what is, we don't know that part. Then we can go ahead and solve. I'm going to multiply the two numbers that are diagonal from each other. So 130 times 60 equals 7,800. And if we divide that then by the number that's opposite the variable, we get 78. All right, next problem. What percent of 20 is 18? So again, no matter what, I know down here the value is 100 because it's always out of 100%. Then looking at the numbers that are given. Again, I always look for a percentage sign first. I don't see a percentage sign. I do see the word percent, and it's asking what percent. So that tells me that we are solving for the percent. Now I just need to figure out where the other numbers go. So if I look here, I have of 20. Remember, the of clues me into the whole. So 20 is going to go down there. Is 18. So is clues me into the part. So the 18 is the part. Then we can go ahead and solve this proportion. So I'm going to multiply the two numbers that are opposite each other. 18 times 100 equals 1800. And divide by the number that's opposite the variable. Divide that by 20, I get 90, and we're talking about percent, so 90%. All right, next one that's just kind of the basics, then we'll do a couple word problems and then have you try some on your own. So 60 is 90.5% of what number? So again, no matter what, every single time it's 100 down here, then I'm plugging in the other values. First thing I look for is the percent sign, and I do see it here. That's actually the number that we plugged in. So 90.5% goes there. The other number that's given, 60, and it says 60 is. That clues us into the part, so 60 goes on top. And then if we look at the other thing that's given, where we see the word of, it says of what number? So we don't know what the number is. We are solving for the whole. Then we've got our proportion. Multiply the two numbers that are diagonal from each other. 60 times 100 equals 6,000. Then we divide by the number that's opposite the variable, and we get I'm going to round it to about 66 3/10. Okay, so those were just some basic problems. Now let's look at a couple word problems, and then I'll have you try one on your own. So word problem, same idea, same exact setup. Okay, we're always talking about a value with a percent out of 100. Just got to look for those keywords and think about what is the part, what is the whole. So first problem here, at Hogwarts, 270 students ride their broom to school. If this number is 72% of the entire school, then how many students go to Hogwarts? So again, no matter what, the first thing I'm always looking for is the percent sign. And here I see 72%. Then I'm looking at the other numbers that are given to me. So the only other number I see is 270 students. So it says 270 students ride their broom to school. Well, is that talking about the whole entire school or is that a portion of the school? If you're not sure, keep reading. It says that number is 72% of the entire school. So this is 72%, which means it's not the whole, it's the part. And also, in the question it says, then how many students go to Hogwarts? That's talking about the whole. So the 270, that's only part of it. Only some kids ride their broom. Then, where it says how many students go to Hogwarts, that's what we're solving for. We're solving for the whole. Now we've got our proportion that we can solve. Going to multiply those two numbers together, 270 times 100, which is 27,000, divided by the number opposite the variable, so divided by 72, gives us 375 students. Okay, let's do one more word problem, and then I want you doing the next one on your own. So, the Chicago Cubs won 60% of the 95 games, nope, the 160 games they played this season. How many games did they win? So let's look again. No matter what, always out of 100. The next thing I look for is the percentage. I see a percent sign, so that tells me that above the 100 it should be 60%. And then the other number that's given is 160, and I'm looking around and it says of the 160 games. Well, if you think about it, the 160 is talking about the total amount, the whole value. We want to know how many did they win. Well, they didn't win every single game, they only won part of the game, so that is what we are solving for there. Then we've got our proportion. Multiply those two numbers, 160 times 60. Get 9,600. Divide by the number opposite the variable, and we get 96 games. Okay, now what I would like you to do is try this one on your own and get it checked by me when you're done. So, this problem, at Target, the price of pants has been reduced to $22. This price is at 55% of the original price for pants. Given this, what was the original price? Go ahead and try that one on your own.